Hello, this is a free call from
Donald Grant,
an incarcerated individual at Oklahoma State Penitentiary. You may start the conversation now.
I always struggled all my life. I had to do what I had to do to live because I don't have no damn food. I ate off the street. So I might watch you eat fried chicken or whatever and you throw away your straps. I would walk up, play it off, have my shoe bend down, take the chicken bone at the box and put it in my pocket and eat that shit. Life is kill or be killed. It's a hard night life. It's a hard night.
Howdy, everybody. I'm RJSMITH, and welcome to this thing of ours, Crazy News Reacts, where I find the craziest, most insane, but true news videos and bring them to you every day. Well, except yesterday, we had a very serious hurricane here. So we might call this the hurricane edition. Everybody is cleaning up here in West Florida, Clearwater Beach and upwards. Huge water surges yesterday. 8 feet for us, and I believe 20 feet where it made landfall in the Panhandle. A lot of people hurting today, and my heart goes out to them. Thankfully, nothing got in our house, and it's all outside. So here we go. Today, I am talking about capital punishment. And some of you might say, why? Why are you talking about capital punishment? Well, just the other day, 2 people were put to death. And I think one was in Texas and one was in Oklahoma on the same day within an hour of each other. And I'm like, wow, what the hell is going on? And then I came across news that 2 to 3 more are going to be killed next week. I'm like, Jesus Christ, can you imagine? Anyway, wow. As I said, death row inmates in 5 states are scheduled to be put to death in the span of 1 week. Did you hear me? 1 week. Whew. That's an unusually high number of executions, right? It defies the year-long, foot dragging that many states had. Although now I understand they are using one drug to kill people. Wow. The first execution was carried out in South Carolina just days ago. 2 more death row inmates, Missouri and Texas, not Oklahoma, were put to death on Thursday. It is the first time in more than 20 years, since July of 2003, that 5 executions are carried out in just a 7-day period. Now, I want you to come along to the death chamber with me today. This is about Donald Grant. He died a couple years ago, but it's a very intriguing story, and this is typical of most death sentences. This is almost exactly how it happens. So I hope you guys not enjoy it, but learn something from it. Wow. I think we're coming up on 1,600 people we've put to death here in the United States. Crazy. Hit the like, subscribe, and please turn on notifications. Hit that thumb. It doesn't cost you guys anything. If you don't like it at the end, you can, unclick it, right? So here we go.
Oklahoma's governor announced Thursday that the state will resume executing death row inmates by lethal injection. The last scheduled execution was called off in 2015 after a doctor discovered the wrong drug had been administered. The process was put on hold ever since. State officials say that they have now secured a reliable supply of drugs.
I can assure the state of Oklahoma that we have established a system of checks and balances through a protocol that I feel very confident in, and establishing a team of individuals that will be involved in executing those protocols to make sure that there are no mistakes. That's the reassurance that I can provide to the citizens of the state of Oklahoma.
Nearly 50 Oklahoma inmates are on death row. Prison officials say that at least 26 have exhausted all court appeals and will be scheduled for execution soon.
Dear Mr. Robinson, it is with empathy that I must inform you that inmate Donald Grant is scheduled to die by lethal injection at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary at 10 a.m. Inmate Grant has requested you as a witness to the execution. My name is Joe Robinson, and I'm the eldest sibling of Donald Grant. The day of, on the 27th, me and my siblings had to be transported in a vehicle driven by department staff that was a van with no windows on either side. Visitors are made to feel like they are, like they've committed some crime. And we were driven to H Unit. Really, it's like a concrete tomb. Just cold and barren and lifeless. We were taken to a room. There was coffee, there was snacks, and I'm like, just laid out, as if it was like almost like a banquet or something like that. I don't have an appetite. My brother's about to be executed, and I'm gonna drink your water, eat your cookies or snacks or whatever, as if it was any other day. That was what bothered me, though. This was not any other day. This was the day that my brother was gonna take his last breath at the hands of Oklahoma State. So it was not any other day.
In less than an hour, Donald Grant set to become Oklahoma's 195th death row inmate to be executed.
Have mercy on your son, Donald Grant, who's about to return to you.
I really do think that my brother's crime, which was a double homicide of two young hotel clerks, I'll say, is a heinous crime. His then, girlfriend had gotten arrested for something. And Donald came up with this plan to rob one of these hotels to get bail money, to get her out.
According to court documents, Grant shot hotel manager Brenda McLeay in a storage room before stabbing her in the neck with a box knife. He then ordered Suzette Smith to empty the cash register, which she did, before shooting her in the face 3 times.
I get it. A lot of you guys might be for the death penalty. Personally, I am against the death penalty for just a regular murder. I think death penalty should be reserved for the most evil, sickest people that get convicted of first-degree premeditated murder. Premeditated. You must have had intent. Very important. Although states now are putting people to death. And in Florida, Ron DeSantis, the governor, wants to put sex offenders to death. So the death penalty is stronger than ever before. But Oklahoma, where Grant was executed, the last 4 autopsies done on people who were executed found massive amounts of fluid in their lung. And that kind of goes to the prisoners' complaints out there that cruel and unusual circumstances are taking place, because that tells us they drown, right?
I know pain, so I know their pain, and for them to have to relive it, my actions for what I done back then, I can't change that. If I could, I would, but I can't change that.
It was at that point where it really hit me that Donald, in committing this crime for this woman, he did it because he was seeking our mother's love. In 1985, my mother became addicted to crack. It's like I had 2 mothers. There was the mother before 1985, then there was a mother after 1985. Donna was about 9 or 10 years old. I remember our mother beating him. It seemed like until she got tired.
My earliest childhood memories and everything, I remember her beating me. Pieces of 2x4 wood and everything, make like crack my head open. That's all I remember about that time. I was more hurt by her words than the violent part she inflicted. She said things, that make me not feel love. Like I wish I never had you.
Donald seems less concerned with dying. He was more concerned with it being botched.
Officers saying they're gonna botch me, to have a botched execution and, me up on that table and make me suffer. That is my concern, you see what I'm saying?
All holy patriarchs and prophets,
Pray for him.
St. John the Baptist,
Pray for him.
St. Joseph,
Pray for him.
all the angels and saints. Amen. Pause and wait till we receive news that the execution's taken place.
Around 9:30 or so, we were taken to the, as they call, the staging area, the witness room. We were told to sit in the front row. There was 2 big glass windows and the curtains were down. And and we could see shadows, like people on the other side setting up. At 10 o'clock, the curtains came up, and this is the hard part. And Donald was lying, strapped to a gurney, with an IV in his left arm, yeah, that was just that was incredibly hard to watch. I saw a long tear down, down his left side of his face. Donald was told that he had 2 minutes to say his last words. He said, I'm good. Don't worry, I'm solid. He said, I love you. I'll be back. I also remember him saying, and I would say tearfully, I'm about to die. On the one hand, I think he was saying it for himself. But I think he was also, it seemed like he was preparing us. Like, okay, I'm about to part with you. We watched him faint into unconsciousness. And then the curtains came down. This was like theater, only it was real. It wasn't a play. It's just unbelievable.
When I leave this body, I go in what is called this black hole. It's above the Milky Way galaxy. And that black hole is so strong. It recycles this energy. It takes my soul out the body and takes me back home. Home is not the earth. This is my second kingdom. It takes me to that home, the universe. I know my next life. I don't want next life to be a better life, I know my
seem
next
to think that that after he passed away, that he was going to a different place, kind of like heaven, I guess. He doesn't say heaven, but he says it's above the Milky Way. Now, don't know how he could come up with that, but there has been talk that Donald Grant was mentally ill. And if that's the case, we have to wonder, why was he killed? Whatever happened to the psychiatric hospitals in America where you sent criminally insane people? Now they go to prison and they get executed. It's crazy. I'm not defending anyone, folks. And look, Oklahoma, where he was killed, is the third most prolific death penalty state in our country. And it's not cheap, right? Oklahoma pays the people who put them to death $15,000. One lump. Hey, Dad delivering coffee. One lump sum of $15,000. That's what Oklahoma pays to the doctor that executes these guys. So there's a financial incentive as well, which is really up, right? And look, the chairman of the Oklahoma Department of Parole and Pardons was forced out of his job. Adam Luck, the chairman of Oklahoma's Board of Pardons and Parole, resigned from the board under pressure that Luck always voted for death while he was on the clemency board. A big no-no. Let's go on.
I don't think anyone is out here saying that everybody on death row, everybody who's been executed is innocent of those crimes, but I think ultimately we just have to decide what kind of society we want to be. And I personally don't want to live in a society where we're putting people to death when we could be doing better. Especially in the case of Donald Grant, you have a man here who is a diagnosed schizophrenic. He is mentally ill. And I think we just have to do better than that.
The sentence of Donald Grant has been carried out. The time of death was 10:16 a.m.
The attorneys for death row inmates was very vigorous. There was no doubt of the sternum rub. He called the doctor who was hooded, called the inmate's name, and then did checked his right arm. But it was very vigorous. The hitched breathing, I called it slight gasping. I saw about 9 times his chest. It was moving up and down throughout until it stopped at the timeline that Sean gave. But Stouffer's, the last execution was described as uneventful, and I think that would be a good description for this one. I mean, as far as events and incidents during the execution, it certainly was not like what we heard of John Grant back in October. The chanting was I mean, he said a lot of stuff that was intelligible, and then at the very end, he started saying stuff that was, I couldn't tell if it was a foreign language or, some of us jotted down speaking in tongues. It was different, and he did that loudly for a minute, for a few seconds actually. It was interesting that the chief of operations who was in the room, who was unhooded, said to him at one point, either inmate Grant or Donald Grant, we've got to go, something to that effect. And that's when they turned off the mic, which they could only have on from their protocol for 2 minutes. And he again continued to speak after the mic was cut off, looking at his family, and at one point smiled very, very prominently. His spiritual advisor, Don Heath, stood at his feet. He had a communion cup at the bottom, and it looked like he was reading. He would read scriptures at different times. I didn't see him put his hand on the inmate at any point, but he read scriptures at different times, including toward the end.
Began today at 10:03 a.m. Grant was declared unconscious at 10:08 a.m. and Grant was pronounced deceased at 10:16 a.m. I recognize today's events impact many people on many levels, especially the McElroy family, the Smith family, and the Grant families. As the director of the Oklahoma Department of Corrections, I'm ordered to carry out the orders of the court, and we did so today. The agency has done so with professionalism, with respect for the process, and for the dignity for all those that were involved.
I am ready to remember the beauty of my sister instead of reliving the brutality of her death. As a family, we want to thank the Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater, Prosecutors Suzanne Lavenue and Sandy Elliott, Oklahoma General Attorney O'Connor, Deputy Chief Jennifer Miller, Assistant Attorney Generals Caroline Hunt and Tessa Henry, Victim Service Coordinator Karen Hunt Cunningham, for all of their hard work and dedication to Brenda's case and to her family, and they will never be
This
forgotten.
is like a circus, right? Outside, there's all this protesting. Inside, this man knows he's minutes from death. The victims' families, after 20 years, show up, and they are thanking people, and there's actually a buffet put out for them to have snacks and refreshments, like it's, holy crap, you're killing somebody, right? And then they get up there and they thank and this and that. Look, just go home. You got what you wanted. You don't have to give a speech. This is absolutely insane the way this is handled. I mean, man. And all of this since the death penalty was, what do they call it? After more than 6 years with no executions and a trial pending on the constitutionality of their death sentence procedures, Oklahoma is now back full force. Although the #1 killer of inmates on death row is Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me today right here on Crazy News Reacts. I love all of you. You make my heart pump. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share and comment. All of those things pushes our videos out to more and more people. And man, we're almost at 50,000 subscribers, folks. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you right back here at 8 o'clock.